So we've got a couple of guests who are going to come and answer some questions about what you just saw. First up, let's get on the mastermind and presenter behind the Missing Episodes podcast, which is, if you haven't listened to it, it's a work of great scholarship and fastidiousness, and it's very entertaining too. Please welcome onto the stage Tim Burrows. Hey Tim, take a seat. And we also have a name that has been etched in the mind of many a Missing Episode follower since as long as we can remember. The former head and curator and just Missing Episode saver extraordinaire, the mighty Sue Malden. Sue, hello Sue, grab a seat. So Sue, you're still doing it. You're still helping us find missing episodes. You are involved in Film is Fabulous. How did you become involved with Film is Fabulous?
Well, how do I turn this on?
Don't worry, they'll do it.
They'll do it?
Yeah. It's
Are
on.
you doing it? Brilliant. Yeah, well, I just can't resist it. Anyway, but back in, I think it's about 2023, I was on a panel at a Doctor Who convention. I wasn't 100% sure of exactly where I was. I think it was somewhere near Milton Keynes with two other... It was Wilson, thank you. I just used the sat nav to get there, and I... No. Anyway, I was there and on a panel with two other people who knew a lot more than me, really, about Doctor Who, when someone came up and said they wanted to have a word with me. And believe it or not, it was John Franklin, who was telling me he was... Are you all right? Yeah, okay. He was very concerned about film collectors and their collections. And I kind of thought, well, so what? You know, what's that to do with me? Little did I realise, you know. But John explained that many of the collectors are male, many of a certain age and a certain, perhaps, attitude. And he was really worried about them because they were beginning to get very ill or die, and then their collections were in serious trouble in a way. We didn't know what was going to happen to them, he said. The family usually know nothing about it. They often worry about how Dad got hold of all this stuff. They don't know what on earth to do with it. And we need to help them, said John. I'm like, oh, okay. He said, you know what they need to do? They need to make a list of what they want. And I said, oh, that's brilliant. I'm a librarian. I'm great at making lists. This is what needs to be done. So he said, well, this is what we've got to do. We've got to tell them how to make a list of what they've got, and also tell them that they should put a codicil in their will to let their estate or their family know what they're supposed to do with the collection when something happens to them. And I thought, well, that kind of makes sense. That's a good idea, John. Yes, I'll go with that. I'll help people make lists. That's what I was made for, you know. So we decided to put on an event in Leicester, together with the help of our third trustee, Justin, who's here as well, been showing everyone the way to get to here, there and everywhere. And Justin joined us, and we eventually put on an event in Leicester and encouraged many film collectors to come in with archivists there to talk about making lists or maybe working with the local archive or whatever. And it was a great success. It was wonderful. But as far as I know, nobody made a list after that, and nobody did anything with their wills. So we had to rethink a different approach.
Well, a man who's made a fair few lists himself, I'm sure, is Tim. Tim, this is the first that you've been doing this brilliant Missing Episodes podcast, but this is the first time that you've got actual missing episodes to talk about. So where do you come in with these?
It's a bit of an imposition, if I'm honest. I'm thinking about things which are lost. Well, I was very fortunate to ask Paul if he knew any film collectors. Paul, you'll hear from after episode 2. And he said, yes, I do. So he linked me up with John Franklin. I've been very fortunate on the podcast to be able to sort of chronicle their conception. Then there was a comment made on a Facebook post saying, we'll be making an announcement about Doctor Who shortly, and a few thousand people noticed. So they then did a podcast about it, and then happy day a few weeks ago, we got the news. So I've been very fortunate to be in the right time, right place, to be able to share the development of Film is Fabulous with people. It's been such a treat and such an honour, honestly. Amazing.
But that's missing episodes in general. What about the fact that it's these 2 episodes? What episodes 1 and 3 of the Daleks Master Plan mean? And also, have you gone back and listened to where you theorised about what was going to happen in them, and it turned out that you were talking an absolute load of old Tommy Rock?
I daren't. I absolutely daren't. I've got to say, and it may be because they're fizzy and new and exciting, but I think that episode we've just watched is possibly the best episode of 60s Doctor Who I've seen. I think it's absolutely marvellous. So what do they mean in terms of the Daleks Master Plan? Do you mean?
Or just and to you, and what were your thoughts? There's a couple of episodes back. It's these ones.
Well, they shouldn't exist. Everybody knows that the Daleks Master Plan should not exist. So basically, I'll run through it. I know most people will know the story, but thanks to the Television Act of 1954, I think, which paved the way for commercial television, it also paved the way for British TV to be priority sold to Commonwealth countries. And so what that meant is that it would be sold within the Commonwealth, but the wealthier, lots of TV set countries, the Dominions, Australia and Canada, would pay the lion's share, so that the countries with less developed TV networks, fewer TV sets, could get it for a song and get things on the air. So Australia, for these episodes, would have paid £460, which doesn't sound a lot, but it's £12,000 an episode. They would pay 90-odd%, and that would allow the rest of the Commonwealth to air them. And so by the time it gets to a country with an undeveloped TV network, Nigeria, they're paying £10 an episode. So if Australia bought it or Canada bought it, happy days, the rest would be able to afford it. Canada wasn't showing Doctor Who at the time, so it was down to Australia. The episodes were sent to Australia in the March after it finished in the February. They couldn't schedule the censors to have a look at them for 6 months, partly because the censors would only sit there and watch 12. They had to watch an entire serial in one sitting. So they had to find the time to watch 11 episodes of Daleks Master Plan. I won't go into 7.
I think you're fine.
So they had to sit down and watch them, and there were 2 censors, and between them they suggested over 50 cuts to the 11 episodes. This wasn't particularly unusual for Doctor Who. Indeed, the horrifying censorites was only suitable for adults, so they had to put that in a later slot. So they're not particularly horrific, but there are instances in these episodes, and I think we've just seen one of the most remarkably horrific images in the whole of Doctor Who with Kirk Gantry's corpse. I thought that was horrifying. The censors would just cut that out. And so there was lots of umming and ahhing. They said, we'll do a cut down version, and it stalled for a year. The ABC were running repeats while they sorted out Dalek's Master Plan, and eventually it was actually BBC Sydney that pulled the plug and said, you're not going to buy this. The tone is too bad. It's not going to work. So they pulled it. And so they didn't buy it. And as we said at the start, nobody else could buy it because they paid 90-odd% of the money. So we shouldn't really have any. What happened to the episodes that were sent to Australia? We have never known. There are researchers who have said they've been sent back to the UK. There is a researcher who thought they were still in Australia. The person speaking after episode 2 might have cracked this. So I will tee that up for Paul. He has news and has worked it out. But these copies are cutting copies, and that's terribly complicated. And I'll let Paul talk about that as well.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're spoiler aware. So, but it's the archaeologists as much as of the fun of this as actually watching the episodes. But Sue, when therefore you were told there's a couple of episodes of Doctor Who, and also 4 that we already have, isn't that right? And it turned out to be these 2. Did that set any alarm bells or curiosity in you that this particular story, which is supposed to be the most elusive, Marco Polo was sold to 19 countries. We don't have any of that, and yet the Daleks master plan keeps coming back in these weird bits and bobs. Do you have a theory behind that?
No, I don't. To me, every Doctor Who was, every episode rather, or every series was as important as the others. I never really distinguished between them. So just getting back anything was always worth it. I didn't distinguish them. Although I must admit, I do remember probably watching this at the time it was broadcast. And they were fantastic. They were gripping. And I have to agree with Tim. The direction on this was just amazing. It's brilliant stuff. So I can see why the Australians were so scared. Too frightened to watch that. I couldn't believe it at the time when I heard how much the Australian censors did cut Doctor Who episodes. And I know a lot of the kind of fans in Australia find some of those snippets that have been cut out. But now, having seen that, I can understand why they were so scared of showing it there. I see Australians in a totally different light.
Ironically, if they had actually cut it instead of giving up on the project, we might have had the cuts, and who knows about whether we'd have had some episodes. But that's
Right.
Although we don't have the cuts from season 3, do we?
That's true.
So actually, we might have got the episode back with all the really nasty bits missing.
Yeah.
All the cuts in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you saw it go out at the time.
I think I must have.
Would it have killed you to have recorded it then? Tim, I mean, it's quite fun, isn't it, to look at the example of that. I think you've got some of the censor notes.
Yeah, I've got the censor notes
that stopped this being sold, and so makes it such rare fruit. What have you got for us there?
These were found by a brilliant Australian researcher called Damien Shanahan in the 90s, but a very kind Australian fan called Mike got the NAA to upload the handwritten censor notes. If you go on the National Australian Archive website, you can actually see what both the censors wrote by hand. So episode 1 that we've just seen, the censor said, "Cut out, not get out of here, but cut or I'll kill you now." A few minutes later, "Give me that key and then cut or I'll kill you." They made a note of, "Where the devil are you?" "Man shot by mechanism disintegrates, falls to ground." It's brilliant. They don't know what the Daleks are called. They go out of their way not to call them Daleks. Later on, we get war machines and all sorts of nonsense. But yeah, so reduce that. Cut, close-up shot of face with the open mouth. And then both of them made notes about the skeleton. Episode 2, which this is relatively spoiler-free, isn't it? And they get very confused what Zephon is made of in episode 3. So I'll give you some of the terms used in episode 3. They made a note of entry of faceless man with hairy hands. Delete, man walks in with claw feet and no face. Reduce hideous sight of man in black gown. Delete, captured representative struggles with vegetable arms. They made note of Daleks burning down forest. They've made note of men in peculiar masks shown in close-up. Close-up shots of men wearing masks. Reduce, man with pointed teeth makes speech.
William Hartnell, somebody said that.
I won't give spoilers for episode 3, but Zephon is in it, and he's referred to as lichen-covered head, vegetable man with hair and funny hands being cross-examined by Daleks. Seaweed man. Oh, this is brilliant. They made notes of group of long-haired men, long beards, all unkempt.
Well, that's what we need the censors for, to guard us from untidiness. Well, we haven't got long. This has flown by, but Sue, you are inevitably going to get asked. No sooner have we got 2 episodes of Doctor Who back than people, of course, have an eye on the future. Are you hopeful that that not just Doctor Who, but that this initiative will continue to bear fruit?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I think it is important to say, though, that at the very start of this, Film is Fabulous is about helping the collectors and their collections, first and foremost. What's been a most amazingly lucky spin-off is finding not only these 2 Doctor Who's, but other things. I'm sure you're all very excited by Emergency Ward 10. But some people are, anyway. So there is the opportunity to be finding stuff. I always use the word stuff rather than film or programmes or anything like that. So yeah, I'm sure we're going to go on finding things that are missing from archives. But that's not the main objective. The main objective is to help the guys who've been collecting this stuff, as I say, and looking after it for all these years, for us to come along and find it, we hope. So yeah, hopeful.
You hopeful, Tim?
Yes. No, there's no mystery. I just want to say that it's a very small team, and they are putting in a shift, and they are remarkable, and we're getting this for free. And it's just brilliant. So I'm really sorry people hear me banging on all the time about support them, but we're getting this for free. It's just remarkable. They're putting in a shift. They're not Doctor Who fans. They're not telly people, but they know we have needs. And it's just the best thing that's happened for classic Doctor Who ever. I think.
Well,
thank you.
Well, stay there, guys, because we'll go into the break in just a second. Coming up after the break, there won't be an introduction. It'll just go straight in. So if you could make the comfort break as swift and efficient as you can, we'll be watching an episode that was discovered in 2004. So yesterday. It feels like I feel like this one's still pretty new, but this is going to be the first time we've had to watch the first 3 episodes all in one go. So it's worth having episode 2 in as well to remind us of how the whole story starts. We're going to see the first quarter of it today, which is such a great opportunity. So avail yourselves of a lovely interregnum. But before that, please give it up for Sue Malden and Tim Burrows.